probably be impossible, but that's still not going to stop you from understanding that that statement was true.
And that is an excellent point, man. And that I learned that I had my first boss was this short little kind of weird guy. And the first couple times I met him, I just thought he was like a dumbass just because of the way he presented himself and just his general mannerisms. He didn't fit the archetype of a really intelligent person. The way he spoke, he kind of stuttered, but he's probably the smartest person I've ever met in my life. And many of the roughest people that I've ever met, many of the less polished, wouldn't find them in a suit, don't speak like the newscasters on TV, have gifted me more insight than I've ever gotten from CNN or politicians or anybody who's polished and presented and has an Ivy League degree. And I think
why that is?
You're absolutely right that people get suckered.
You know why that is? Because those people that don't wear the suits, their intelligence have evolved enough to understand that they don't need to pretend. They don't need to pretend for anybody. And if you're smart enough to understand that people are intelligent and geniuses without them having to be in the fucking mainstream media, without them looking like Albert Einstein or fucking Newton, right? They're geniuses born all the fucking time. You know what I'm saying? They don't need to present us these fucking geniuses in order for us to believe that this is the way geniuses come up. And that's just not the truth. They make us feel like our next door neighbor can be a genius, like our cousin can be a genius, like we can be geniuses, because they present us an image of what a genius is supposed to be.
Yeah, well said, man.
Make you feel like you can't be, you mean?
Usually it's an old man in a robe with a beard and looking wisely up to the sky, or, you know.
This is what I think is going on with the Globers. It isn't that they're not understanding the evidence and the contradiction. The problem is they will never ego-wise. They will never accept it because they cannot fathom regular people understanding things that so-called professionals cannot understand and comprehend. We're regular people and we're destroying pretty much the world narrative. Just regular people, and they cannot comprehend that because they're so instilled into their mind
that's not the case, Matrix.
That we're not professional enough.
That's just not the case.
What is the case?
It's a possibility, right? But it's not the case because these people all know that the Earth is flat and stationary. Flat Earth has been handed to us, so we're going through a process here. And look, we're not in normal times, right? In the midst of Corona, where the world is shut down, so there's something else going on. And if you want to put it down to sort of indoctrination, just that sort of elitism, I think that's what you're saying as well. Well, I'm educated. I will follow the educated people because they will know better than any of these plebs who claim to have some sort of authority because they heard it on a YouTube channel. You know what I mean? But yeah, no. There's something different going on, and what you said is a possibility, but I say it's absolutely not true. Half the fucking world is looking on in this arena, and I
agree with you on that.
Flat Earth is an open secret, man, and people are playing the roles.
I definitely agree with you that there's something else going on. I definitely agree with you that there's something else going on. The problem is, even us flat earthers, sometimes we don't want to push the topic because it gets fantastical real quick. You start pushing gravity long enough, it's gonna get fantastical. You start pushing anything long enough, it's gonna get fantastical and weird real quick.
Right.
When he pulled out his crystal ball and started saying flat Earth's not growing, there's no movement, that's crystal balling it. He has no clue how many people are tuned in, and not just here on YouTube, but so many other. Look, they're so worried even teachers are being armed up with shit to say to kids to, you know, be more bullshit to keep them on the globe, you know. They're going to be spoon-fed bullshit about the flat earth for the next 10 years now because they have to. It's not going
Speaking of geniuses, if I remember right, I have heard Rumpus say he's the smartest guy in the world.
Listen, I've called out Rumpus 1,000 times. Rumpus is not a genius, bro. Rumpus is he's a parrot, all right? The only thing he could do is parrot the globe. He cannot take the material and make his own things out of it.
The parrot
is immature and insane.
Is the global genius. So when we're talking about genius, yes, we're talking about actual, like Brandon was saying about some dude you made or woman, where you'd never think it, but man, just super in tune, let's say. Now, but on the paper world of the globe, Dude, Rumpus. I mean, if you're the best parrot, you are a freaking genius. Right?
Yeah, like Big Blue. Everybody thinks Big Blue's so smart because each can, or George Nutsack, because they can parrot the model, right? Like, you know,
Blue is smart. I can attest that Blue is a smart person. I think
he doesn't even know what.
I think Blue is a smart person. I don't think Rumpus is a smart person. I think he's a parrot.
Blue doesn't know what a container is.
You be smart if you think the Earth is a ball, right? Like, if somebody came up to you and said, "There's people upside down," would you think that person's smart? Like, I wouldn't take anything they said.
Okay,
with anything. I'd be, you're stupid.
Blue doesn't know what a container is, and B, Rumpus is the worst Glober. The people at Gems don't even fuck with him.
Right, the hand in a bigger sense, right? I actually hold that we're upside down, just the way I picture it. When we go through the North Center, everything's intact the other side, so it's all a relational thing. And I think in a greater sense, when they talk about Earth, this is ultimately maybe what they're sort of referring to. You might think that that's crazy talk, and you can't sort of relate to it with your senses. But hang on, please. But when Matrix said that, it's true, right? We came from the fantastical spinning ball to the fantastical flat Earth. Everything beyond flat and stationary Earth becomes fantastical because it goes outside all of our sort of mental experience, I guess, in consideration terms, right?
The only thing that changed really was our belief, right? We've been, every single person, like before anybody, before we got to flat Earth, was observing the exact same Earth. The only thing that changed was their belief. So this is, like I said, this is all like, you know, you're never going to prove it to any of these people because they're seeing everything we see. We've just, you know, we'll say we see past the bullshit. They'll say that we got caught up.
Like I said, they're willing to allow the imagination, the surmising, the theory, the thought. They're willing to allow all of that into the conversation. And what we're saying is, no, you're not allowed to have that in the conversation. And they won't stick to that. They are willing to allow all of that in, and we aren't.
Well, flat earthers are close to a lot of things. Flat earthers are really still nowhere in, you know, seeing the faces and the mountains and the giants and titans therein, and the petrified world around us.
I'd like to hear you talking to Bob Dole about that stuff, Jim. Let me just say before I go, you're rooted in reality, it seems, Bob Dole. I'm very passionate about it, but you forget that our five senses only sort of operate because there's a brain to piece them all together, and the brain only works then because the spirit is the motive force, right? But I mean, these are going to be controversial areas anyway.
I don't know if I know all of that necessarily. I know what I've been told about that. Like, I mean, I think that people make the argument that, you know, there's all these little sensors inside your fingers and they send a signal to the brain and it sends it wherever and all that stuff. That is something that I've been told. What I know for sure is that whenever I put my hand on something, I feel it on my hand. That's what I do know. And so my senses, they don't lie to me about what's there. They tell me what they feel. That's what my senses do.
Well, I mean, yeah, and you've listed five. There's many more than five senses, but I'm saying
intuition a sense?
Okay.
Intuition, is it a sense?
It is not one of the five physical senses. Now, if you want to have a debate about whether or not it is a sense of some sort, go ahead.
There's only one physical sense. That's touch. Touch is the only physical sense. Everything you're going to talk about, sight, hearing.
Okay, yeah, I'll accept that. Sure.
Aren't smells physical chemicals and odors that come into your nose?
Yeah, it has to be a physical thing that gets touched to another physical thing to transfer data to get an interpretation or to get more information.
It's not only touch that is physical.
Hearing.
See, the thing is, we don't know that that's what actually happens with our nose. That's what we're told. We don't see anything enter our nose, though. We just know that our nose can smell.
Have you ever seen the hand in the box experiment? And you depend on your senses for this. You can't see what's in a box. I put something in it. It could be a rock. It could be a sponge, a doll. You can't tell by touching it. And depending on, well, its texture and how your brain interprets it at first, you could think it's kind of, well, if it had beads in it, that it's, I don't know, anything. But usually your conception of what your hand is on in that box is a million miles away from what it actually is.
But your senses aren't lying to you.
Like that thing they do on Fear Factor, right?
You
that
are
they make the guy
feeling
touch
something
the thing with
in
his
that
hand.
box. Right?
Yeah, talking about like
you are feeling something. Your senses aren't lying to you.
Absolutely, but
you're deciding to interpret it in a one way or another.
But you have no idea how really your brain is interpreting it, whether it truly relates to what you are feeling and sensing.
And what do you mean by
your brain is creating that, not your sense of touch?
But the information hasn't changed, has it?
Exactly. The information exactly the same. You're touching the exact same thing. It's only your interpretation that changes. So the real world,
the brain's interpretation, right? The brain's interpretation.
bro. It's like you go drink milk at the middle of the night and grab water instead in a gallon jug. You're gonna swear or swap it. You'll swear something crazy off because you're expecting. Your brain, expectations of something can change, but it's not changing what you actually are touching. So, and this is why it's very important to distinguish between the interpretation of reality, which is the physical things that you touch and then interpret, and the physical things. They're two separate. Ballers like to fuse them into one thing.
Taste is a really unreliable sense. I work with food and drinks, right? And if I'm formulating a new flavor of something and I don't put the expected color, it's a drink. If I make a raspberry drink and I don't put any red color in it, and I give it to 3 people in my family and say, what do you think this is? At least one of them will get it wrong. They won't associate raspberry. As soon as I say raspberry, they go, oh yeah. They'll name some other fruit, some other berry, but they won't always get it right. Its taste is really deceptive.
They have done they have done tests where they have done tests where they hold on a second.
And it just goes to show you how much of this is the non-physical, right? Like if you can interpret that, like going biblical, like what's his name ran in front of the chariot for 26 miles. What if you can interpret that like, you don't get tired, right? Will your body get tired? Like, it comes to, do you respond to the physical or does the physical respond to you?
How do you decide your basis for reality, Bob Dole? Based on what your senses told you, but you can't do that because you're also coming from some place of understanding, which is a sort of perceived normal, right? Now we've expected lots of stuff.
Experience.
Where do you put yourself after you've wiped away all of the detritus, right?
Wipe
away all the what?
Can't work if they have a cold or a plugged nose. They can't date milk properly.
I don't know what he said at the end there. After you wipe away all the what?
The detritus, all of the stuff that was foisted upon you, and you were told and you accepted was a part of your reality, especially the mental stuff, right? But where do you decide then you are? What's your benchmark for reality? Is my question then. What do you decide? This is the benchmark for what's real, and it will be gauged against this.
My benchmark is what I can detect in my life.
Right.
That involves one or more of the 5 senses that I know of to detect it.
So who are you? Are you just the 5 senses then?
Yeah.
So that's all you are.
Because otherwise, no, that's not all that I am. That's not me. That's my body. That's how you verify something.
Okay, well, I'm asking you, who are you?
Who I am. That's not what you asked.
It is.
You asked. No, it isn't. Or maybe I misunderstood what you were asking.
Who are you then?
I thought you were asking what I'm left with for determining reality. That's what I'm left with. But that's not me.
Okay, but who are you then? So who are you with the 5 senses? That's what I'm getting at.
The 5 senses are related to the body, not me.
Right, so who are you then?
Do you want a name? I'm not going to tell you my real name.
No, I'm not
Pete usually pisses me off with this kind of questioning and
One
stupidity.
second, Jim. Let me finish. I'm going to leave now. One second, Jim.
What piece of
my point is,
are you looking for?
It connects to what I said about your benchmark for reality. You place yourself in a certain reality, right? And you said that this is going to be my sort of instruction toolkit, right? Which is the 5 senses. But you said this is going to be and I just asked, who are you then? I'm not talking about your name. I'm saying, who are we as beings here having this experience?
I think
we rely on our
Pete
senses
might be
instead of benchmark.
Pete might be asking something like this, Bob. Are you the creator of your world, or does the world create you? Who are you in
Neither.
your world?
I am not the creator of my world, and the world did not create me. There is a creator who made both the world and me.
Right.
We're spirit, and we've been put in a vessel that wanders around this place.
That's right.
Well,
and our vessel
excellent.
has
And that's what
five
I
standard senses to
Let me
detect the
say
world
this,
around
Bob.
us.
Let me say this. If you go back to the very start of the show and I came in and addressed a comment to you, that's exactly what I said. I said beyond the five senses, you need the brain to interpret, and then the spirit, which is the driving motive force. And we just agreed. So everything is beyond the sensible, ultimately, and this is what we have to consider, right? We're dealing with miraculous,
I don't
magical
think everything is
realm.
beyond. I think everything that we can sense with our senses is not beyond the sensible. I think they're within the sensible because we're detecting them with our senses. So not everything is beyond our senses.
Yeah, but you listed five senses, and there's more than five senses then in that case.
That might be true, but those are the ones that
Yeah.
I know of for sure.
Okay, well.
And a senses have been given to us to navigate this reality, because we know for a fact that people who are missing any of those senses, they struggle compared to those of us who have got all of those senses.
They have trouble identifying reality, right?
In
senses,
some way. Right, Bob? The five senses.
If you can't see, you have trouble identifying reality
Bob,
through
you
your
say
sight.
the reality,
in the way
but
that
they're
other
only
people
there to detect the world that's presented to you, right?
False reality.
What's that?
Is what it was.
What was that?
I said the five senses are, we have them to detect the world that's presented to us, right?
Which must be false, as we are greater of spirit, right?
I don't think it depends on what you mean by presented to us. If you're talking about presented to us by man, that's not what our senses are for. Our senses are for
the whole
experiencing
spectrum,
the world that's presented to us by our creator. That's what they're for.
Yes, because we're of the spirit, we must be greater than the material. So our senses, in one sense, must be false in comparison, actually, to a true, I guess, status, right? Which is of the spiritual
I don't consider like the spiritual to be a matter of sense.
Could there be a higher sense?
It has to be.
Could there be a higher sense?
Well, let me just say this: it's a physical, right? You're painting a physical reality. I think we all sort of agree it's a metaphysical reality, and science definitely negates the metaphysical aspect of it. And
well, they don't want it, right?
The truth they brought us.
Like, that seems to be a key component of their argument, is to move everything away from the concept of spirituality. They don't want that in there, because once that's allowed to be in there, there's some things they have to admit that they don't want to admit. There's responsibility they would have to take that they don't want to take. So they can't allow basically spirituality to be in their model.
Not allowed.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, it is in its own way. It is in its own way. And remember, this isn't a model. At least this is the way let me say this as a final word. I like the way I'm coming at this, actually. And it's sort of the more optimistic. It might be ultimately wrong, but it's a more optimistic way that we have been given the ability to piece together the nature of our reality and ourselves by the Creator. And it's all a series of clues waiting for us to sort of come upon, right? And process and progress from. That's what I think. And, well, I agree. It's all about the spirit. And once we negate the spirit, then we're stuck in the world of the physical, right? The devil's realm, the material only, where all we have are our five senses. So,
Pete, speaking of models and stuff, we're talking about models of globes and models of flats and stuff. Is it imaginarily possible to create a model of man or woman? Can you create a working model of man?
I think I could, man, in my own brain, just the lines I'm thinking along the moment.
If you had enough paper, right?
Well,
create it.
Everything. The spiral
because
of
you'd
life
have to define the spirit. They like the consciousness, physics.
In the end, you still need toilet paper.
It's a good one, Jimbo.
In the end, where else are you going to use it, Jim?
Oh, great. Don't start another rush on toilet paper, you guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Actually, there weren't very many in the store where I usually shop, so I picked up a 12 roll, one of the last 3, just out of kind of a habit.
We can create a model of society, right, Pete? But not of the one man.
Look, the map is not the terrain. You know, the model, we don't live on models.
Well,
Yeah, I
Jim,
know.
That's like
come on.
saying, well, a map is the world. No, it's not. A globe is the world. No, it's not. A model is not representative of anything.
Jim, have you tried to, in your own brain, connect yourself with your female counterpart? Have you
Oh,
tried to do
fuck
that?
you in the ass with some lube, you dumb fucking half homo old fucking fart. Go
Easy, Jim.
fucking jack off or
Easy,
something.
Jim.
You were
Easy.
going. You're almost there,
Easy.
like fucking rumpus. Go take a
What?
fucking shower.
Be
What?
easy, Jim. Come on.
What? All of it's. Well, okay. What I
That
so
escalated quickly.
when I was
You old
asked
fucking fruit.
okay, so when I was asked about a model of man, and that's man, male, female, or the divided aspects of man are, and so when I think in those terms, I try and think in terms of this amalgamation of male and female down
Well,
to the
go get your dick chopped
spiral
off or
pattern.
something.
And
Try
Jim,
out your last years as a tranny, maybe. Talk to Brenda a bit
why
more.
did you react like
You
that
and your
now, Jim? That's
fucking
very strange.
androgyny
You
fantasies
tripped
and
his
bullshit.
senses. You
That's
tripped
very
his senses,
strange,
Pete.
isn't it, Jim? And Jimbo, I also noticed that you started talking about a mirror sky the last time, as if you would come up with it for the first time, and you were also talking
No,
about
for
an
a change, you were
elliptical,
fucking right about
an
something.
elliptical
The
Earth. You were
baseboard was
also talking about
mirrored.
an
The
elliptical Earth, and
coins
I
were
said it
mirrored.
ages
You were
ago.
fucking right. When you're right, you're right. I'm good with that. But to want to fill out what's above the barrier, the firmament, and fill in the blank yourself, screw you. And bring in
So
ether, screw
Pete,
you.
you
I
tripped
asked you
the
a
Brenda.
perfectly
You
reasonable
tripped the Brenda
question.
wire somewhere.
I asked you a perfectly reasonable question because it was along the lines of what Face 111 here asked, right? Which was a model of man. And that's in terms I think of, which is the male and female divided from the core man, right? So you went off in a rant.
Women is
So
the
that's fair enough.
complement
So
of
I
man.
went to the bathroom and did some other stuff, and it sounds like something popped off in the chat here.
Yeah.
Is somebody talking about like there not being a distinction between male and female?
Phase
No,
one
yeah.
asked
The
for a
question
model
I
of
asked
man.
Pete, the
Hang on,
question I asked
please.
Pete, Bob, the question I asked Pete, Bob, was, you know, we're talking about models, globe models, flat model, what the fuck ever. And so I asked Pete or anyone on the panel, are we capable of making a model of man, a working model of man, right? Because we're talking about senses; those are physical things.
Oh,
sure,
okay.
we can kind of outline that, but you get into emotion, consciousness.
No, we can't make a
just
working
all the
model
spiritual,
of man. Not fully fleshed out and
then Pete
take into
brought
account
up
everything.
the divided male female, and Jimbo went all
I just
Brenda
asked
on
Jimbo,
us.
did he ever imagine that? And he went up and
Most of
whatever the divided
nature is
male
designed with a donor-receiver type of reproductive thing, and that's male and female. Donor.
You're looking
receiver.
physically, though. You're looking physically.
It doesn't matter.
Jimbo.
A lot of show me all male populations of something, please.
You see, you're going straight just on to the 2D wall in
show
front of you.
reality,
The 2D
not
wall in front of you.
exceptions.
Why are you so defensive here, Jim?
Why do you want to divide
even
what
within
is a
the
man
Bible?
into...
Even within the Bible, at the beginning of Genesis 2, they talk about Adam and Eve being one being divided.
The Bible also clarifies specifically
God took
between male and female.
Adam's rib and added it to clay to make woman.
No, well, that's one interpretation of the words. So, but yeah, see, this is what I'm saying about shutting down, right? Our penis is pulling out. Our penis shouldn't be outside of us. It's an inversion of the female aspect, right? And that's along the lines I was going.
At about 4 months, there's a level of potassium will often determine whether the things that become either testicles or the ovaries flip up or down, whether they stand or whether they go up to become ovary with eggs.
What creates that? What decides that?
A chemical change. Often they've noticed potassium, believe it or not.
So not spiritual, not any higher source,
part of it is the resources available. The better off people are, the more girls they have.
So you sound like Babs right now. You're just going straight
I
to
don't know.
science.
You
It sounds like an evolutionary model.
That's the way it goes.
It sounds like an evolutionary model of life, Jim.
Not evolution at all. It's
sounds like it.
Design.
Right. So is God male or female? Is God male or female, Jim?
I don't know. I'm assuming it's a he, but that's just an assumption. God's the creator.
It's a he.
Hang on. The creator cannot be divided, right?
Yeah, he may be neither.
Oh God, it.
Yes,
You know,
I say neither.
As far as intelligence and spirituality goes, it's nor male nor female.
Pretty sure it's
That
the one.
sex
right?
is a
The
part of your
one,
body and your biology,
one.
not your spirituality.
The
But
one.
Jim, who are we then? Are we
I
natural?
don't know. I look in the mirror, for fuck's sake. Don't ask me. I know who I
When I
am.
was
I don't know who
asked
the
for my
fuck you
model of
are.
man, when I
If
was
you don't,
asked for my model
why
of
are you
man,
asking who other people are? You don't even know who you are? Is that why? Who are you, Pete? Who are you?
that's
Jim,
well,
not
I'm
sure why
finding
the
that out,
aggression.
Jim.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
finding
I'm
that
just
out.
asking the same
I'm
very,
finding
question.
that
very
out, Jim.
Who are
aggressive
you,
against
Pete?
Pete
It's
here.
a fair question then. Who are
I'm
you?
finding that out, Jim, all the time,
Oh,
right?
okay, then
And
I'm
this is what
finding
I'm
it out too,
saying.
and so are other
As you
people.
think, hang on,
Journey,
Jim.
Pete.
As I think I'm with like-minded people who are in a difficult arena where the world seems to be against them, I find the most narrow-minded and the most bitter people, right, Jim? I find that.
I'm not
That's all.
narrow-minded or bitter. I just don't take no bullshit.
What bullshit?
bullshit?
What
Yeah,
bullshit? Think I haven't
what?
thought about this.
That,
What about
that
our
we have
brain?
to drift
What
off
about our
to
brain?
androgyny, and maybe God has a vagina and a penis
Everything
or
is
something?
inverted, Jim.
Or that
What about?
Adam and Eve were
Okay,
both
so
like
what about our brain?
androgynous beings of some
Okay,
kind?
what
And
about this for our
Hey
clue
Pete,
then, Jim?
let's ask
Hang on,
Jim.
please.
Let's ask
is
Jim if he
androgyny. Where are we
knows.
going with this?
Maybe because Pete,
So how
remember
about this for a clue for us?
Pete, real quick on your
Hang on,
final
please.
thoughts. You said you didn't learn anything, right? On your final thoughts, you said you didn't learn anything. It was a despicable show. Let's let Jimbo teach us about what
I didn't say
God
despicable show. I said it was a
is.
waste of time.
Here, I'll teach
Sorry,
you right
yes,
now.
sorry,
Go
sorry.
fuck yourself,
Let's
Patient
let
Zero,
Jimbo teach us about
and
what
do
he
it hard.
thinks God is.
Do it
Just
a
on the
dry run.
conversation we're talking about, very calmly.
Is
This,
Jimbo
this
drunk?
idea of senses and just being who we are.
Not
Because
at all.
if we don't know who we are, first of all, then we cannot create a model of something
Let
else.
me leave you on this massive clue. Let me leave you on this massive clue. Einstein, right? Einstein, of course, we know it was all a caricature, right? But Einstein was said to figure out the universe from the comfort of his chair. In other words, in the immaterial center, right, he worked out the physical universe, the nature of everything. But he was always searching for the grand unifying theory, aka the gut. I say that's a clue for us. And if we think about it, the gut being an inversion of the brain, right, makes a lot of sense. And that's along the lines I'm looking at, Jim. But if you take offense to everything I'm going to say along those lines, that's fair enough. Let me say one more thing.
No,
On
just
let me just say this,
androgynous
please.
gods and ether
Okay,
and water.
but yeah, I know that. Let me say one more thing. I noticed on the show, I wasn't on it at the time, but you had something from the Vatican up, and you talked about the elliptical shape, how it might reference an elliptical Earth. I've been saying that for years, Jim. Any circular flat Earth map is wrong. So elliptical, and I'll point you once again to the Oculus mosaic and look at the shape of it. On that note, take it easy.
Have a good night. Enjoy.
Jim, what triggered you about Pete?
I've been dealing with Pete for more than 6 years.
Well, what did it this time? Or
is Pete out of the chat now?
Yeah. Basically, he's always inferred that, God is some type of androgynous being, and sometimes he's female, and then he has this thing where he's splashing his, whack all over the earth and stuff. Just really weird stuff. Portals in the North Pole that you can go down and see this underworld, and then he's got his ether that he wants to bring in the conversation that he can't prove. Then
you use the word weird when alternative is okay, right? Just
what alternative to what?
Well, I listen to you, and I listen to everyone on the show, and I listen to Pete, and I don't take one of you at heart. I take all the information and digest it for myself.
Yeah, and you shouldn't take it
and come back.
That's right.
Sure, but I come back and we right. But I think it makes me think about things, right? So what you say, even though you and I have gotten into it before, but what you say about giants and you showed the pictures of them, laying on there, it just makes people think. So when Pete says something to you, yes, if you want to have a beef with Pete, I get it, but are you open to just thinking about shit?
But yeah, he sort of takes over and follows down the same path, goes off the topic, and again, lines of personal questioning. Who the fuck is he to be asking personal questions? Really?
Who are you is not quite a personal question.
He'll ask questions that lead you. Well, don't we know, or don't you believe that, and don't we agree that this and that? And then 5 questions later, he'll pop his like gotcha thing. Well, we agreed to everything before, and now you don't agree. He's just got a style and a way of fucking getting his bullshit out that pisses me off after a while.
Okay.
All
right. That's
but
acceptable.
again, I'm sort of sensitive about the creator. People calling him hermaphrodite and all this kind of stuff, and pure godhead is androgyny, and there'll be a race of humans that don't have any sexuality. Well, how will we reproduce, for fuck's sake?
Do you know the creator?
Who asked that?
Do you know the creator, Jimbo?
That's a stupid question, so I'll pass.
Exactly. So you cannot say that Pete's saying that he is a hermaphrodite and has a penis. Who cares what Pete says? But you're taking offense.
That's
the creator.
Probably a good takeaway is who cares what Pete says.
Yeah,
but Jimbo's
really
saying that.
But he takes up half the show
my
sometimes.
tray. That's in the bathroom, I think. Maybe. Hold on. Maybe.
Live mic, Bob Dole, live.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the model of man, right? We cannot make a model of man, and therefore, if we can't make a model of consciousness, spirituality, emotions, fears, you can make a model of that.
You don't have to list them all off, but you can't. You can't animate.
Oh, you can. Okay, so you know everything about. Well,
show me someone who did
God's
it.
Creation.
Show me someone who did a Frankenstein fucking electrical zap on
everything
a bunch
about
of
God's
flesh
creation?
and brought it to human life.
You're smarter than God.
You're asking about fucking humans,
man,
and now it's all fucking life. You jack off.
You can create man. Is that what you're saying?
No,
Jimbo?
You cannot.
But you're saying you can model man.
I did not.
I thought you said yes, you could.
No, I didn't. Clean your ears. No, you cannot model it, make it.
Well, you were yelling. Maybe I misheard
No.
you. Yeah, you were getting all
make
brand on me.
plastic model. You can't put life into it.
Okay. So how do you know the creator then?
Another stupid question.
You said the creator is not what Pete says. You know the creator is not what Pete says. How do you know
damn sure.
the creator?
You're also assuming to know how life works.
Pardon me?
You're also assuming to know how life is. You say that man can make men or men-like creatures.
Life is organized
what is life?
Into cells and tissues. The rest is
Keep in mind what no is. No from knowledge. We don't have any knowledge of man being able to create life. Therefore, man cannot create life until he can. So unless you can show some verifiable, credible, repeatable evidence that man can create life, he cannot create life. That's what we know.
Do you go to a supermarket every day? Because those fruits that you're eating, they're life that man has created. All patented formulas.
Who told you that? Who told you that?
Who told you that? You do realize that they cannot sell anything natural or real from this earth. They can't put a label on it and sell it. So everything that you're buying in the supermarket, everything that you think is life, like fruits and things like that, those are all genetically well. Then again, I'm asking you, define life. Then, do you have a grasp on how it works exactly? Because to say that man can make a creation, you know what I'm saying?
Not dead. Everything that you've lived, your life is your experience, and that's what you know. And in your entire life, you have never known of any man being able to create another man. Therefore, you know that they can't until they show you that they can.
There's known unknowns. I could consider that maybe somewhere somebody is funding some sort of science.
Now it's imagination, surmising, theory, pretend. Are you going to allow that in the conversation? If you're going to allow that in the conversation, then anything is anything. And I can say that
everything outside of your world is assumptions and that's how it works for everybody. Just how it is.
Every aspect of your life, my life, everybody on this panel, everyone on this earth, every aspect of their life has been defined which is defining what
What is the lifespan of a brine shrimp?
So when another man, men or women or whatever, can get together and put on paper exactly who you are, right, Bob? So okay, you're a contractor and you are a taxpayer and you're a homeowner and you're this and you're that. That's a definition of man that is created on this earth, right, by other men. Okay, so we can create man, can't we?
No.
What is
Those
the
are not
lifespan
men.
of
We're
a
talking about
brine
legal
shrimp?
fiction.
So you're not a taxpayer, Bob?
That's not what I said no to. I said no to man can create man. Man cannot create anything.
Man can create you. You are created on paper.
Man cannot create me.
You have the longest
Absolutely
paper
not.
trail I've ever
Incorrect.
seen.
No,
Probably,
he's
okay?
not created by man.
Yes, you are.
I am not
He's
made,
made, and he's made
I'm
by
me.
God and here by God.
So you think
We all
that
are.
you don't exist on paper?
I do not exist on
Open
paper.
up your
Nothing.
wallet real
I'm
quick.
me.
Open up your wallet real
Now,
quick.
you might have
Show me your
language,
license,
numbers,
okay?
letters
You don't
on
exist
paper,
on
but that's not
paper?
me. I'm not
Yeah.
language, numbers, and
That's a
letters.
creation of
I'm
you,
me.
and actually you did it, actually. You're the one that
False.
did that.
No, because when
Incorrect.
he was a baby, he had no choice. The birth certificate is issued. He didn't have a choice in that. He didn't.
It doesn't matter.
Pull out that
His
credit card.
statement's
What
incorrect.
name's on the bottom? Pull out that credit card. What name's on the bottom?
I don't have a credit card. Never have.
Okay. Pull out that license. You tell me what picture is there? Who is
It won't
that?
matter.
What
because
name
that's license.
and
That's not me.
description of who that man is on the bottom.
Oh, a
okay?
description. Is a description the same thing as the
Sure.
thing? I can
It's a
describe to you
creation.
Jupiter
You
right now.
created it.
Is that the
You
same as it
created
being right
Bob.
here? No.
You created it.
Your statement is incorrect.
Man can create man.
No, the
On
state
paper.
created it
False.
for
On
him.
paper. On paper.
False.
Okay. It's totally true. You're living it.
No, I'm not. Man cannot create.
He's
They cannot
trolling
take nothing and make something. Therefore, they cannot
Bob
create.
Joel,
Therefore, your
he's a
statement is
troll.
false.
So let's say this, Bob. If you don't pay a tax or something, can another man come and take you away to a jail and basically make you disappear, right? So
Violating his
so
right
the
to-
opposite of creation, right? The opposite of creation, they'll put you in a cell and make you disappear, right?
That's not the opposite of creation.
So okay. Is it not true though?
I don't know. I've never witnessed somebody be taken away for not paying their taxes. So I don't know if it's true or not if they have the ability to do that.
Cool. So you haven't experienced any of a man or woman, enforcing man or woman on another man and woman because you just comply, right, Bob? Say, I'm good. I'm okay.
I'm not
with
sure
this.
where you've gone with this.
We're talking
Your
about.
statement is still incorrect. Man cannot create other things. They can't create anything.
You
Man cannot create.
represented yourself on paper in this world.
Oh, present?
You did that.
Well, that's different.
It's a creation.
Something
You
can be
created it.
represented. No, representing is not the same as creating. Representing is taking something that already is and using
Before
it in a
you can
different way.
be
That's representing it.
Before you can be represented, there has to be the point where you create your representation.
False.
You're living it, Bob. I can't believe how ignorant you guys are.
It's not a matter of ignorance, unless you're talking
Yeah,
about
it is.
yours, because you seem to think that man can create, and they absolutely cannot. Where'd they get that paper from?
You
No, I didn't give them
dumb
paper.
motherfucker. God damn.
I absolutely did not give them paper. Incorrect. Do you want
So
to try
you've
it again?
So you've never been into another man's office and had a piece of paper slid across to you. You put your
That's
hand,
someone else
your
giving me
sweat,
paper.
blood, and tears.
Now you're changing it.
Sweat, blood, and tears onto that paper, handed it back.
Where'd
to
they
him,
get
which
the
gave
paper
him
from?
authority over you to create an image of you in the world you live in. You've never done that, Bob?
Are you talking about creating someone or creating an image of them now? So you've changed it again.
Sure.
You keep changing what you're talking about. You should stick to one thing if you want to actually get somewhere. Now,
well,
are you talking about creating
let's
a
admit
person?
then there's an image of you out there on paper, right? That you live by.
Sure, there might be an image of me out there on
you
paper,
follow
but it wasn't
right?
created.
You follow it, Bob. You
But it wasn't
puppet and
created.
parrot. You puppet and
But it
parrot
wasn't
this
created.
piece of paper that you created, right? Because
No,
you're
it
afraid.
wasn't created. It absolutely was
you're
not
afraid.
created.
Yes, you do, Bob. I mean, let's not.
It was not
let's
created.
lie.
I am absolutely represented on paper, but it was not created. You are incorrect.
Okay, so what do you call it? It was manifested, or what word do you want to use?
Engineered, designed, architected.
By whom?
Presented.
By you?
Represented.
By you?
Sure. Absolutely. I've used paper to represent myself. Absolutely.
So you created, you engineered, manifested, represented a false image of yourself to this
you said
world.
False. I didn't say false.
Right?
An image.
Well,
I
is
wouldn't
that
necessarily
actually
say it was
you
false.
on that piece of paper? Is it actually you?
No, it's a representation of me.
For what purpose?
All kinds
Why
of
would you ever
purposes.
do that? Why would you ever disrespect the creator in such a way?
Why would you worry about whether or not I'm doing it? What does it concern you?
Well, because that's the perpetuation of the system that we're trying to get to the bottom of the truth for and be free.
I'm not trying to do any of that. Okay? Maybe that's your objective. That's not my objective. I'm not.
Oh, you're not trying to be free? So you love being under the authority.
I already am free. If you think that someone else is stopping you from being free, then you're not going in the right direction.
So, Bob, you're totally free.
Absolutely, 100%.
Cool. Get rid of that piece of plastic in your wallet. Take them tags off your fucking car.
I'm free to keep it if I want to.
Take them numbers off your house.
I'm free to keep it if I want to, and I want to.
But that's why would you keep that? That's not what God did.
Because
I
can get benefits by keeping it. I can get nice things by keeping them. So I'm going to keep them.
From who? Benefits from
It doesn't matter. That's my business, not yours.
It totally matters.
I have the freedom to keep them and get the benefits that I can get by keeping them. I have that.
What are the benefits? What are the benefits of having a permission slip to go to the store?
It doesn't matter. Those benefits are between me and the one giving me the benefits. It's none of your business.
And who are the ones giving you the benefit?
That's also none of your business. Whoever I decide to do business with.
Bob, you're not tricking me. We know who they are. Okay.
No, I'm not tricking you. Okay. I'm answering your question. I'm telling you it's not any of your business who it is that I do business with or who is giving me benefits.
We already know who you do business with. Okay.
Hey, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you already know, then I don't know why
you're happy with that. You're totally happy with that and believe you're
free.
Right?
Yeah.
And you believe you're free. Okay.
I'm absolutely free.
Good. Hey, great conclusion to that. Point I was trying to get at. You believe you're happy. Bowing down to the folks that you've do business with, that you don't want to tell us who they are, but we know who they are, and that you created an image of yourself, represented an image of yourself on a piece of paper only so that those folks can have authority over you. But you're happy with that because they give you benefits to go to the store. Sweet.
It didn't hurt me at all.
Sounds great, man.
It is.
Yeah. Keep perpetuating it. Sweet. Hopefully, hey, you should sign your kids up too, by the way. Yeah. Make sure they're free, just like you.
Well, that's the goal. They are going to be their own people, though. So, I mean, they'll decide whether or not they want to do that or not.
Are you sure? You sure they're going to be their own people?
Yep, because that's how God designed them. Everyone is their own person.
Okay. I get you, man. You'll figure it out.